Welcome back to CTV News at 5. Well, 3 years ago, she didn't even work out. 3 weeks ago, she biked up a mountain. Miriam Carey Campbell is a former maritimer living in London. She's trying to change the way women work out by sharing her fitness philosophy on her popular blog, Spikes and Heels. And we'd like to welcome her to CTV News at 5. Thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, so I've got to ask you the first question of you didn't work out. What was the turning point? Why did you start?
I was a certified member of the Couch Potato Club, if I'm honest, and I just reached a point where I felt very blah, which isn't a very technical term, but it's the best way I can think of to describe it. Just very physically and mentally lethargic, and I thought something's got to change. I've got to get active. So initially I started boxing, which I absolutely fell in love with, and I tweeted and blogged about that a lot. And then somebody obviously mistakenly thought I was super fit at the time and invited me to run a half marathon and blog about it, and I think I didn't really know how far a half marathon was at the time, but I took up the challenge and started running and started blogging about it, and cut to 3 years later and I've done a bunch of half marathons and just don't seem to stop moving.
Okay, so it's certainly not only because you kind of started. There's something that kept you doing it. How did it make you feel?
I think that was actually what kept me going. Was I definitely found I didn't really realize how much of a goal-oriented person I was. So having a training plan to follow to do this half marathon, I all of a sudden found that I was more focused and more determined and with everything I did, and I was happier and less stressed, and it had all these kind of knock-on effects that really filtered out throughout every area of my life, not just fitness. So it became really all-encompassing and just life-changing, really.
But was it hard?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, let's admit that to everybody at home.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
My starting point was, I was very unfit. I was kind of at the point where I was getting winded going up a flight of stairs, so it was a lot of hard work. But I think, the fact that I was blogging about it and my audience really connected with it, because I was blogging very honestly. I think oftentimes we see kind of elite athletes, but we don't understand what it took to get there.
What's the most honest thing you shared with your readers?
Oh, well, running sucks, to be honest with you. When you first start, it's really hard. It's an uncomfortable feeling, especially if you're not very fit. It's a horrible feeling to feel out of breath and your knees hurt and your back hurts and everything hurts. And I mean, I know for me, I'd never seen anybody really talk about that. So I thought, if I'm going to blog about it, I'm going to do it warts and all. And people really connected with that. And I think it helped people start on their own journey, knowing that there is actually, this beginning part is really tough. But if you can get past that, you kind of, reach the mountaintop, as it were, and it all becomes a bit, exercise endorphins are great, and you start to feel great once you get past that initial period.
Okay, you just mentioned getting to the top of the mountain. You also took part in a very prestigious bike climb.
Yes.
Tell us about it.
Yeah, that was just about 2.5 weeks ago. I did the Étape du Tour, which is a stage of the Tour de France that anybody can do. They open it up to the public. And I was invited by Rafa, which is a quite prestigious cycling apparel brand back in the UK, to do it, because out of 13,000 riders who take part, only 600 women did it this year. Wow. So I was one of them. So the aim was to kind of encourage more women to do it. And I had never cycled before, and I was given a bike in January of this year. And I trained for it, and again, kind of very warts and all on my blog, and talked about my training, because it was quite a difficult transition now to go from a runner to cycling. And I'm still slightly in shock that 3 weeks ago I managed to cycle up some mountains. But it was an incredible experience. Grueling, but incredible.
Excellent. Okay, I have to ask you about your tagline, "Be pretty on rest days." What does it mean?
Well, when I speak to a lot of women about what prevents them getting into exercise, oftentimes it's aesthetic, because quite frankly, we're very vain people. Nobody really wants to get their makeup messed up and our hair gets all sweaty, and that was a really preventative factor for women. So my philosophy is, forget all that. Get as messy as you want to get while you're doing your workout, because when you think about it, if that's kind of preventing us getting into a healthy, active lifestyle, then we're really affecting our health because of our vanity. So, get as sweaty as you want to get when you're working out, and then be pretty on your rest days.
Excellent. Yeah. Well, I love that motto.
Thank you.
I think I live by it a little bit. I want to thank you so much for joining us this evening. Miriam Carey Campbell is a fitness blogger living in London. To check out her blogs, just visit the hot links section of our website, atlantic.ctvnews.ca. Pretty on rest days. Bruce, I know you subscribe to that.
I sure do.